Everybody, oh, what up, everybody? This is the Bains and Beers podcast here today with myself and my co-host and a very special guest today, an OG guest actually.
That's right.
Way back.
Way back. We're here with Kanika. How are you?
I'm really well, thank you. How are you guys?
We're good. We're good. We're glad to have you here. How have things been with you? It's been so long since we've chatted.
I know it's been like over 4 years.
Yeah,
Your first season, I remember it was a fun time. Things have been okay. Things have been good, and I'm really happy to be back.
That's awesome. So you started. Was this your second or third movie that you did now, or?
Well, this is my third
Yeah.
movie, third feature film. The first two never made it to the theater, so there were some issues with the post-production and stuff like that. So this is the first one that has actually made it to the theater and did a release and the whole thing.
So how was that process and everything?
It was fun. It was actually really exciting because when I was filming this movie, I almost didn't even anticipate that it's gonna, like hoping that it would, but not having too many expectations. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna go to my set, do my work, do a good job, hopefully, and then just let's hope for the best. But it did do a theatrical release all over the world, and it did release in India and Australia, Pakistan, Canada, and I was very grateful that it did, the work that it did.
You've always been like a big movie buff, right? Like for
Always.
Bollywood and
The reason I wanted to be an actor was because I loved cinema so much growing up, and just watching movies made you feel like you're part of a different world, and I wanted to be a part of that world.
Yeah. And so this was your first movie that went like okay, and it was a Punjabi movie?
Yeah, it's a Punjabi feature film.
So what was the process for that? Like did they like give you a script, or is it something you wanted to go into Punjabi, or
I actually wanted to just just act in movies. It doesn't matter. It could be Hollywood, Bollywood, Pollywood, Tollywood. Now they say Tamil movies too, right?
I was like, what's Tollywood?
Tollywood is Tamil movies. So just kind of like putting a perspective to it. Any kind of acting is universal. So you could be on a set and work in any kind of language. It can be taught. You can self-teach yourself. Luckily, I do speak Punjabi, so it wasn't hard. And I've spoken Punjabi. I've been to a Punjabi school in India, and I know how to speak and write and read Punjabi. But even then, I got dubbed. My voice was dubbed because they wanted a specific accent.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
really?
they did. They're like, we want you to sound like a specific, they had a version in mind, so they had to dub my voice.
But by dubbing, you mean like they kind of made you record over?
No, by dubbing, they had someone else do the voiceover for me.
Really?
Yes, it's not my voice.
Okay.
Oh, so you're acting in it, but this
I'm acting in it, but the voice is someone else's.
Did that mess with you watching the movie? Like, did that kind of?
It did.
Yeah.
A little bit, because I was like, okay, I can't be too attached to it because, I've put in the work, and now it's also like the vision of the direction team of how they want to put it forward. But I'm like, oh my God, I don't sound like this.
Yeah.
But I got over it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like during the process, like breaking it down more, going through the whole like making the film and acting in it, how much of a say did you have in like the process?
You know what?
As like maybe even just part of your own roles.
That's such a good question, because you learn this as you go, that you really don't have a lot of say, and you have to be okay with it, because I've gone to acting school, so there's always, and especially in a creative process, everybody comes up with their perspective or opinion. But in this movie, I think the way it was filmed in India and Canada, and obviously there was a script that we were given, and we couldn't the script had to be memorized and had to be done the way it was. My character was of the antagonist, so I had to come across as, or look and talk really mean, like a mean person.
Yeah.
And that's really opposite to I feel like I had a hard time saying things
the
like
villain role.
and after every cut I would go and apologize to the person. I'm like, I'm sorry. They're like, don't worry, just do your thing. But again, I also enjoyed in the process, like taking someone else's lead, it's always nice when your feedback is taken into consideration, but then I had to learn that this is someone's vision of putting a movie, and I'm just a part of it. So I just have to do my job authentically and truthfully,
Yeah.
and hopefully.
How long was the process of making this movie?
We were on set for 2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah. Yeah. So the part that we filmed in Canada was 2 weeks,
Mm-hmm.
and there were a few days in India, and then the post production editing. But the part that we shot in Canada was just 2 weeks.
Mm-hmm.
We did have like 14-hour days,
Yeah.
but we got it done in 2 weeks.
How was like the supporting cast and everyone that you worked with?
They were awesome. Everybody was amazing. Like they all spoke very Tate Punjabi, so they did kind of like mock me a little because my Punjabi is very like I'm from Delhi.
Yeah.
But it was fun because I would say something and they're like, actually, you're saying it wrong. You know, like little things like I say, main ghar jana hai, but the actual way of saying is main kar jana hai. So I was getting picked on, but it was
That's kind of the Hindi way of saying it. Right?
there's a Hindi way of saying it. But it was just all fun and laughs. I bonded with everybody on the team. They were all supportive, kind, generous actors, and yeah, it was really good process filming it.
That's exciting because
Yeah.
like that's like your first, like you'd say, bigger film, right?
Yeah.
And like you being the antagonist role, like is that something? Because like I feel like once you get into a certain character, that kind of becomes your character for your career. Is
I
that
agree.
a character you wanna?
Not by choice. Like I never sat down and thought about what kind of characters would I do. I thought I'd always get selected for a cop or a lawyer or someone professional. When I was casted in this, I was surprised, but then I was also excited because I'm like, why would I want to just do characters that are like my real life? Like I want to play an antagonist. I want to play maybe hopefully homeless person or someone different than who I am in my real life. So it was exciting. I do understand that sometimes you do get stereotyped as an actor. But again, I can't complain. If I'm on set and if I'm doing work with good teams and good filmmakers and we're putting good stories out, who cares if I'm the antagonist or the protagonist or the supporting cast? Yeah.
And how was the feedback from like the audience in general?
The feedback was incredible because we had a premiere in Vancouver where we had all the media people and our friends and family come. And that was the first sort of reaction, like the first feedback that we got from people here, and it was all really good. And then obviously after people saw it on the theaters and now it's on the app, it's still getting really good reviews. It's a good film. It's not too long. It's like 1 hour and 40 minutes,
Okay.
like under 2 hours. And it keeps you engaged. It's a family film. Like you can watch it with your kids. Everybody can watch it. It's got a good storyline. So I was happy to be a part of it.
Are you still big into Bollywood movies and stuff?
I'm always big into Bollywood movies.
What did you think about that recent movie? What's the Animal?
My goodness, I was cringing throughout the movie.
That was weird, right?
It was I.
Did you watch it?
I watched it, man.
I didn't watch it.
Did you like
Everybody
it?
hyped it. No, I thought it was weird.
It was so bad. Well,
I got good reviews.
Really?
Yeah.
really?
Yeah,
Who
some-
gave you good
Well,
reviews?
there's 50-50. I wouldn't say a lot of women actually liked it. It's really
Yeah.
misogynist, very, very misogynist. It's really heavy on like portraying men as their alpha men and like really putting even some of the dialogues. I was like, how can censor let that through?
Mhm.
Because it was so demeaning. It was putting women down in almost every scene. And don't even get me started on the violence part because but I get it.
I
It's
just didn't
cinema.
like the violent part. Like they were just kind of. It was so like weird. Like they're just fighting and like.
It's just like
There's
kill
very
at free
vulgar-
will.
Vulgar scenes in there.
Yeah, I just thought it was like weird.
Yeah.
I mean, the violence is a lot. It's
Yeah.
very graphic.
Mm-hmm.
It's like Mortal Kombat on steroids. Like
Yeah.
it's so bad. But I watched it, but I was like, I'm not gonna come and watch it again, or because usually,
Yeah.
in the
Yeah.
movies is like
So you weren't impressed with it?
I wasn't impressed with
I
it.
don't think a lot of females were, because it
You
was
weren't
very.
impressed with it?
I wasn't not like. I just thought it was a stupid movie, man. I was like, what am I watching? Right?
Well,
I
there
didn't understand it to like that extent. I
Oh,
guess.
okay, yeah.
I
was
mean,
kind of
it's
forced to go
it's-
watch it.
the storyline is also like it's just when you're just putting movies out for just the entertainment purpose. I mean, I get it that you don't have to have a big message in every movie, but know what you're putting out there. Cinema has got such a big influence on our youth and people. Like you can't let these dialogues and this kind of framework go out because it just becomes a mindset then, right?
And like there was a couple of scenes in it where they depicted like the Sardars, in a couple of scenes, which I felt was like not cool.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Whereas
I
like
agree.
Bollywood kind of always bites off
I heard about
our
this,
culture
yeah.
in a sense.
Yeah.
And I feel like what you know, so I just thought it was like kind of I felt uncomfortable in those scenes. I was like saying right.
Yeah.
You're right. I resonate with that because I was uncomfortable when there were like dialogues like, I mean, I don't know if this is appropriate to say it here, but the first scene, the first meeting of the guy and the girl, he says, "Oh, you have a big pelvis. You're gonna have healthy babies." And I looked at my husband and I'm like, what? I was like, I don't even know if that's body shaming or that's women shaming or that's like, what is that?
Pelvis shaming.
Pelvis shaming. I'm like,
Holy shit, he said that. I don't remember that.
I'm like, that's medically wrong. That's
Yeah.
inappropriate. That's
Yeah.
offensive. And that's just a bad dialogue.
Yeah, it was a wild movie. I feel like
Yeah,
it was
it
very
was-
like it was different. But I mean, that guy in it's pretty good actor.
Yeah.
Um,
Ranbir Kapoor.
yeah, he's a good actor.
Yeah. I went to watch for him and I was
Yeah.
like, oh my God, I can't believe he said yes to this movie
Yeah.
and made so much money.
Is that like a goal for you to like work your way into the Bollywood scene?
You know what? Now that, like, as a woman too, like I'm trying to say, I want to make good choices where my work is a reflection, kind of a reflection of who I am. So think about it. I was actually sitting down and thinking, I'm like, if I was asked to do a movie like Animal, would I do it? Because there's so many scenes that don't resonate with me as a person. But then again, there's so much good cinema that Bollywood has produced. There's so much independent movies that are on Netflix and, you know, on OTT platforms that are doing so well. I wouldn't say that Bollywood is my goal. My goal is to do good work wherever it is, and just be a part of good films, good stories, good teams where I can learn, grow, and just make good films, and and justify my work, and not have to also like bite my tongue where I'm like, oh my God, like I don't. Who is this person?
Yeah.
Well, I feel like you gotta be like comfortable doing the movie you're doing.
Yeah.
And playing the character you're playing.
Yeah.
Like kind of to get into that role as that person.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but then also like if there's an opportunity like that, like that's like
It's hard to give
it's
up.
hard to say.
It's
no.
hard to
'Cause
give
it
up.
opens up so
Yeah.
many doors.
I haven't been in that situation, so it's hard to say.
Yeah.
But I would definitely have an opinion to say that, this could be reframed. Like, this is a really good story, but I would give my 2 cents for sure, because I'm not the kind of person who'd be like, yes, and then, just shut down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So overall, how was your experience?
I feel like it was a really good experience because I actually saw from the film from the inception, like we were doing a table read with all the actors. So everybody got to read their lines to the part that it was released and premiered. So I really saw, when you see this from like step 1 to step 10, you see how the process evolves, and how the audience gets involved, and how you were feeling at that point when you were on set versus audience reaction to it. So it's like it's like full circle.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed that whole process. So I can't wait to do it again. Like
Yeah.
I'm already looking forward to signing whatever I sign next.
As an actor, do you have to be very critical about like how well you did? Like, are you pretty critical on like going back and watching the movie and being like, well, maybe I should have done this better, maybe I should have done that better? Are you open to criticism from the audience perspective, like reading comments of, and like taking it in, or kind of just ignoring that?
Oh, absolutely. I'm very open to taking criticism, constructive criticism, not just like you haven't.
Just haters, yeah.
I'm very open to constructive criticism, but I don't go back and criticize myself, because I feel I've gone to acting school for so many years, and I've learned that this is a creative process. So let's say if you're doing the work in the moment of what your mindset is and what you're feeling, how your body is, what your state of mind is, you do the best in that moment that you can. So you can go back and say, oh, I could have done it better, because it's not a scientific, like a formula-based process. It's more
Yeah.
like creative. You're in the flow. It also depends. You're also reacting to what the other actor is doing. It's kind of like a teamwork. So I've learned that you can't be too hard on yourself, and you just do your best and just make peace with it.
Yeah.
But if people have criticism, like, I'm open to it. I'm like, bring it on.
Yeah.
And you were saying before the podcast that you're working with kids and stuff now, like teaching and stuff,
No, well, I'm doing a lot of like,
workshops.
it's more like speaking engagements with the
Okay.
youth. So I'm doing, I was a part of this I was on the panel for this organization called Kids Play with Sassan. So I do like the opportunities where I can go and engage with youth, because I feel like
I actually saw him the other day,
yeah,
New Year's Eve.
yeah, he's
He's
doing some
working.
really good work.
Yeah.
Like
Shout
his
out.
Kids Play is like incredible,
Mhm.
changing lives of kids and putting them on track. So I like engaging with kids because I'm a mom myself,
Mm-hmm.
and I kind of find it's very fulfilling when you can. And I'm not saying that it's a huge thing where you can change the mindset of kids, but it's just having an interaction where you're not the parent, but you are having a conversation. You'll learn so much about their mindset, and you can also hopefully influence them that they can be braver, they can be courageous, they can be, it's okay to
Yeah.
make mistakes, it's okay to learn it, like things, just having an open mindset where you're not too hard on yourself. Because remember how we were kids and we were like, oh my goodness, like if we don't do good in school, we're like dead.
Yeah, yeah.
Especially growing up in India, it was a big pressure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And how was that with like you being an actor and like your family and your kids? Or
So I could not even imagine telling my parents that I wanted to be an actor. Like I come from a very conservative, traditional family, and entertainment business and performing arts is not. It's not a.
frowned upon?
It's frowned upon. It's like
Yeah.
it's not a viable career, right? And I understand where they're coming from. It's not an easy choice. Like, look at how many actors there are around you. You have to be okay with rejection. You have to be okay. You have to have a thick skin for everything. So I did not even bring it up with my parents. And I was also married at 19, remember? Like I was very young when I was married. So I did not get an opportunity to explore those options then. But with my family, when I joined acting school, when I made a choice that I'm going to go and train, I had to make it very clear that this is what I'm going to do. And I hope you guys can be supported, especially with my kids, because when kids look at parents
Yeah.
not making conventional choices, it's something that you have to explain and, make them be a part of it versus like just have a decision and let them, you have to,
Accept it,
you have to incorporate them. So
yeah.
I've taken my kids to my acting school just to audit and watch what I do so that they enjoy it and they know what I'm doing. And it's not something I'm actually passionate about it. I actually want to do this. Could be my potential career.
Yeah. So they
God
kind of
willingly.
understand it. Yeah.
Yeah. And they
Yeah.
know like all I want to do on a downtime is watch movies. Like they know how much, like what a big part cinema has in my life.
Yeah.
How was that being married like so young, and then like today's generation, it's like so different, right?
It was interesting because I not only got married young, I moved to Canada when I got married. So it was too many things happening at one time. Getting married and assimilating in the culture, the family, moving in a different part of the world, halfway across the world, and then also like getting pregnant within the first year. So I was like, whoa, this is like life just hitting me with a storm
So fast.
so fast. But now I look back and I'm like, wow, I was young and I was vulnerable and I was, when you're young, you can take a lot.
Yeah.
I can't imagine me doing this right now because I was young and I was impressionable and I was open. I could do it. And I was still molding
Not as
myself.
jaded, I guess, right? 'Cause
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. As over time, life kind of curveballs and you kind of
Yeah, but
You
it's
learn
like you don't
and you
even
become
hear
wise.
about people getting married at 19, having a kid at 20 nowadays. Right?
not anymore. No.
No, even back then it was young. Like,
Yeah.
but again, I think things are when they're meant to happen, they happen, and you just
100%.
and you grow with it too. Like my son is gonna be 18, and like he's such a big part of my when I make my choices. He's in drama in his high school. He was a protagonist in high school, and he's learning that how kids, they're very heavy on sports here. He's learning the creative part of it too. Like acting is also an option,
Yeah.
and exploring
Yeah,
it.
because I feel like in high school growing up for us, like drama and stuff was frowned upon. If you're in drama class, man, they'd be making fun of you.
Well, we used to do drama class because it used to be the most chill class, right? Like
Yeah.
everyone would just do drama 8, drama 9 because you do shit all in there. And like you just hang out,
Yeah,
like all your
just kinda
buddies
kill
are in
time.
there and you just kill
Yeah.
time. It's like basically it was like a spare, like you could skip if you want to.
Now it's a little bit
Now
more
it's
intense.
like, people
is
are
it?
actually
Oh,
like,
yeah.
serious.
Yeah.
There's
about it.
auditions for drama. There's
wow.
there's a lot of, like, when I went to watch him, there were some incredible actors who are picking acting as a career choice. So they're like making moves to New York and LA, and I was like,
Do you think there's more opportunity in the film world now compared to before?
I would say that now it's a little bit more of a inclusive environment than
Okay.
before, because again, like for South Asian actors to be working in Vancouver, it's more inclusive now. They want representation. They want more brown people, Asian people, or other people from other ethnicities. So it's a good time to sort of capitalize on that. I don't know how the things were before, like how the agencies picked their actors and there was fair representation or not. But even back in Bollywood, I feel like it's because there's so much work, independent movies and then streaming, like there's so much work that it's not as hard to find work as long as you're open. If you're stuck on just doing Bollywood or if you're just stuck on doing a certain kind, then again, it's going to take you the longer time.
Yeah.
But like I did a Punjabi film here. You know, if I go back to India, maybe I'll do something like more commercials or maybe like OTT platforms. Or
Yeah.
so there's more work for sure.
I feel like in the Punjabi industry, like Gippy and like Diljit kind of popped it off and like made it like a bigger industry now. I feel like it's
100%.
like a lot.
Absolutely. And
bigger.
also like I feel like there's more meaningful stories in Punjabi cinema now. It's not just like
The comedy.
silly comedy or
Yeah,
know,
they actually have like proper.
they have
like,
storylines.
dialogue and
Lines,
stuff.
yeah.
they keep you
yeah.
engaged. So it's
Yeah.
not just like you're watching a Punjabi film, you're watching a film. It's taking you on a journey. So I like that.
Yeah. What's your take on? I'm curious. Is like on nepotism.
You know what? Growing up, like you would see so many people who would just come as star kids, right? Like especially in Bollywood.
I
Like
mean, it's still happening though.
it's still happening. Oh, it's always gonna happen.
Yeah.
Like think about it, right? Like doctor kids want to be doctors, you know, and they see it in the family. They're exposed to it. They know
Yeah.
that. They know the perks of it. They know the downfall of it. I feel nepotism takes you so far because it can give you an in the door, like an open in the door. But if you're not talented, then someone's gonna come and replace you. Hard work and talent is like you can't joke with it. You can't mess with it because there's so many talented people out there who take their work seriously, religiously, and work at their craft. You know, there's no way you're gonna like step over them because they're here to rule.
Yeah. So for me, like I never understood like what it takes to be an actor, or like for me, it's always just like, oh, like you go in, they tell you your lines, you say them, and call it a day, right? So what is the hard work? What is like, you know, is it memorizing your lines? Like what goes into being an actor?
You know, that's what I thought when I watched the movies, and I'm like, okay, you know, you gotta, well, and also aesthetic was a big part back in the day. Like you have to look a certain way, you have to be a certain age, but now there's work for like, you know, you could be 90-year-old and you could be playing a grandpa or grandma, you know, so there's, the opportunities are there. When I joined my acting school, I actually learned what it is to be an actor because I was taught that acting is from the source. So you could read the lines and you could say the lines, but if you're not in your character, if you don't understand what he or she is, like what the intention is, like how affected I am, if it's like, let's say if it's a fight scene or if I'm arguing with somebody, let's say if it's a argument scene with your husband or your partner, and if you're not affected by what he's saying to you, they are just lines. You're not going to be authentically incorporate that emotion into your lines or in your dialogue. So if someone is telling you that, you know, you're stupid or you're, you know, you don't know your whatever, you have to take it in. You have to take it in and respond versus just say your lines. And it's a process because if you're not in your body, if you're not grounded, if you're not, like if you don't do the work on yourself, and by the work I mean like if you're just living day to day and if you're not taking the time to settle into the moment, meditating, listening to your heartbeat, your breath, that's the work. Then you know your body, you know how it's going to respond. You take a moment to take it in. You're not just like superficially floating, you're in it. So a lot of acting work is also that. You have to be grounded, you have to be present, you have to be able to respond and listen versus just wanting to say your lines and get out of the way. Because that was my struggle too, because when I was saying those mean lines to a very older gentleman who was my father-in-law, I was having a hard time to feel that I am angry at him, and it's not just the lines. I really want him to be out of my house right now. So that's, and it's a lot of like, I would say spiritual work, not just physical work. Yeah.
But it's like a lot of Hollywood actors too, like how they get really into their characters and stuff. Like
Mhm.
for like especially long term movies and stuff, they
Yeah.
like really like, or even like TV series and stuff. Like they sometimes they go so far that they become the character in real life,
They do.
and then
They
like,
dive
yeah,
into it.
yeah, and then it's hard to get snap out of it and like go back to reality.
I mean, some actors have a process where they go. It's an
Mhm.
extreme thing. Like
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys watched Padmavat. That did you watch? It's a Hindi movie. So the actor who played the antagonist, he literally went into like he really isolated himself and just went into that whole character so that he could do justice to it. I mean, everybody has a process, but for me, I think just staying present and being connected to my co-actors is huge.
Mm-hmm.
Is just like, what am I doing here if I'm not here with you, responding and yeah.
How is it though being on set and stuff like when you're new on set? Like, is it awkward at times?
Are you
Do
like a
have to-
rookie?
Yeah, like, are
is,
you-
No, it's exciting because it's very exciting. There's long days on set, so you really become really close knit like a family. Because when you're spending 12 hours, 14 hours with them, eating all your meals with them, the work part is when you the time between action and cut is very little. It's actually just the process and rehearsing in the lines and being okay and So I find it very exciting. I never felt that I was a rookie. I enjoyed it. I'm also very personable and outgoing, so I make friends easy. I would just go and talk to people.
Yeah,
So I didn't have a moment where I felt like, oh my God, I'm in the wrong place.
yeah.
It felt right.
100%.
That's awesome. How is your clothing brand going?
It's going well. It's been 8 years now.
Wow.
I launched it.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah.
thank you. It's I mean, I do so many other things that I sometimes get to the back end, but that's my bread and butter. Like, I'm not signing movies, left, right, and center. So that's my main source of income. And I get to work with a lot of Indian designers and showcase their work here and retail their, the outfits and the accessories. So it's a lot of fun. I get to style a lot of women, and it keeps me on the go. It's exciting. It's fashion. It's like playing dress up with the girls.
Yeah.
It's nice.
You kind of enjoy. Is that something you have out here?
Yeah. So I have a multi-designer boutique here in Surrey,
Okay.
where I stock all the designer select curations.
That's nice. And then is that something like so you're designing like just fits from scratch?
No, I'm not designing at all.
Okay.
So I'm only basically retailing.
Okay.
So I go back and I work with the designers on the curations, and I bring their stocks, and I stock them here in the studio, and I work and I sell it for them. So it's kind of like, it's straightforward, but I'm not a part of the designing process. We do take custom orders, like custom designing, but the designing piece is the designers. I'm just kind of like styling and retailing and helping them sort of put it together.
Do you design for like brides and like everything like that, or?
Yeah, so when the brides come in, it's kind of like putting their whole look together. So when they talk to me and they're like, we have this vision where we want to wear something like this and we want to have this kind of jewelry. So it's nice to kind of have a full look, sort of go from like A to Z in terms of like, what colors are you going to wear? How are we going to, like, depending on like the, how the bride is, like if it's a taller woman, a shorter woman, what does she like, what her preferences are. Depending on that, we sort of work with the styling pieces, and it comes out beautiful because that's creative, that's fun. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's like something other than like acting. That's something
Yeah.
you do.
That's
What other things are like you into hobbies wise?
so right. Well, I've also done emceeing for a while. I have emceed a lot of like entertainment events, community events, a lot of Bollywood shows. Like the last big show that was, I think, The Bung, that Salman Khan came with a bunch of other actors.
Yeah.
I emceed that. It was like a
That's
few
pretty
years
cool.
ago. Yeah, it was
So
really
you got to
fun.
meet like Salman Khan. And
Oh
everything?
yeah, like I was working with him backstage because he was back and forth performing and I was emceeing it, so it was a lot of fun. And that was also the first time I met him, so
How was he?
he was good.
Cool guy.
But I was working with him, so if I had met him at a different environment, I don't
Yeah.
know. But I was like, I literally spent like 5 hours with him, just being back and forth. So he was nice to me.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay. That's exciting.
it was very exciting. I
Yeah.
talked to him about all the movies that I watched, and I watched
Mhm.
all these movies
Yeah.
like multiple times.
Yeah.
So I kind of had a fangirl moment.
Yeah.
But it was.
Who is your favorite like actor inspiration?
Ranbir Kapoor is my favorite actor. Animal. Unfortunately, last movie is not very good example of.
Step your game up, Ranbir Kapoor. If you're listening to this, man, what are you doing?
What are you doing?
The
No,
girls
make
ain't
better
happy with you,
choices.
man.
Misogynistic, man. What is
Make
this,
better
man?
choices, Ranbir. Just
It's
kidding.
misogyny, man.
Didn't he just get married too?
Well, he's been married for a few years. He just had a baby girl.
Okay,
Yeah.
great movie, buddy.
You're acting great, but the concept of the movie and the dialogues, I was like, how can you say that?
Yeah.
See, those are the things where you expect the lead actor to be like, hey, I'm not comfortable saying that. Let's just tweak it.
Yeah.
Because think about it. I mean, I don't want to say names, but if someone like Shah Rukh Khan or someone like, they wouldn't say lines like that, right?
Shah
That
Rukh
they
Khan, I don't think would, right?
I would say that he would put his foot down and be like, let's change it or let's tweak it. Let's make it.
So does this change your perspective on Ranbir Kapoor because of the fact that he has the power?
It does. I kind of wanted to like just send him a direct message at one point too. I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
buddy, like don't disappoint people who
Yeah.
support you.
Yeah.
It does. I mean, it does change because I'm so big on like if you have a platform and if you have the power, use it to your advantage. To use it to make it better, and not just not just roll with it like he did.
Yeah.
So I did want to, I did hope better, expect better from him, that he would. Again, I understand the character is kind of like a douchey character,
It was, yeah.
but, you could be douchey without, demeaning women.
That one guy had like 3 wives. He was married to like 3.
Oh, I don't, yeah.
He had like 3, 4 wives, man.
Shout out. Man.
That's not- but his role is like so small and so nasty.
Yeah. It was crazy.
That was a point I'm ready to walk out.
Yeah, that one scene he
haven't watched this
kills
movie.
someone and then he just goes crazy.
Just
I was
saying.
like, oh man.
And that's the only scene he has.
Yeah,
That's just,
that's
yeah.
it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Wild.
it was nasty. But
Yeah, so Ranbir
Ranbir Kapoor, I like his work. I mean, growing up, I did like Salman Khan quite a bit. But again, when you read about them and you learn how they are as people, you're like,
Yeah.
okay, well, make better choices.
'Cause Bollywood does have a dark side to it,
It does.
right? And
It
I feel
does.
like that's like a side that's hidden. But now with like social media and like everybody just exposing everyone, I feel like a lot of that comes out.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, a few years ago when there was this Me Too movement, there were a lot of stuff that came out on the
Yeah.
surface. A lot of things happen, but that people don't find out. But that's also Hollywood. That's also other
Yeah.
industries.
Yeah.
So it's not just Bollywood. But again, I understand that if you're going to be willingly wanting to be a part of this industry, you have to know that. So,
How dark it can get.
yeah, like I always tell, when my husband brings it up, he's like, are you sure you want to be a part of this industry? Like there's stuff that would not settle with you.
Yeah.
And I'm like, be the change you want to see in the world. You know?
Yeah.
So hopefully I can, be my own sort of version. to
Yeah.
it.
And I've always like had that in my mind too. Like as your husband, is there points where like you would let him, or if he's not comfortable with something, you would take that into effect?
I would, out of respect.
Yeah.
But again, it hasn't happened, so it's too hard to say.
Yeah.
Because we talk about it.
What if it's like a big film?
I'm
and,
like, what if it's a big film and it's a
Yeah.
big opportunity and I'm excited about it?
Yeah.
Would that be fair to suppress that? But I know how he is. Like, he's my biggest cheerleader. And I know that he would always be like, go for it.
Yeah.
If I'm uncomfortable, I'm not going to watch it. But
Yeah.
but I would put that in consideration. Like, it's definitely out of respect just to,
100%.
yeah.
Yeah. But then there's also the other side. You don't want to suppress.
yeah, I don't want to suppress because look how far it's taken me. Like, I'm not 16
Yeah.
Yeah.
and it's
100%.
pretty much starting out a new career. And
Yeah.
God knows if it's going to flourish or, like there's always things, right? So I don't have time to my advantage. As much as I hate to say it, I mean, actually, let's just cancel that. I do have time to my advantage. I want to manifest better. But you know what I mean? Like I'm not that young. People start at like 16, 17. So I want to do good work and I don't want to be in a place where I'm like man, again, like I don't want to give this up.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Cause that's tough, right? And
You're
like,
like stuck between.
yeah,
It is. And that's again life. I feel where I am right now, I mean, it's kind of cliche, but there's no bad decisions in life. You can't, when there's times when you can pick A or B, and at the time you pick whatever, 10 years later, you're like, it was meant to be. So there's no bad decisions, there's no regrets. You are guided by the present moment to make that decision. So you cannot, like, you can't go back and
yeah.
be hard on yourself. Life is, evolving and you are just in the flow.
But I feel like as long as you're working towards something, even if they're bad times, looking back, you'll always be like, okay, that worked in my favor.
100%. And if it didn't, that also opened doors to other things, right?
100%.
So failure is not something that's gonna be like permanent. It grows you through other things. It pushes you through other opportunities. But it's good to sort of know and be aware of what's your heart's truest desire, and follow it. Because again, life is short. You're here. You're given those passions and your desires and your dreams for a reason. Like not everybody in my age is wanting to be an actor. So why wouldn't I pursue that and not have too much attachment to the desire where I need to be successful? Like I'm completely detached from that idea. I work hard, but I also know that there's a purpose for the journey. So you can be like, I need to make it work because otherwise there's no other alternative.
Yeah.
So you set like low expectations and
Have low expectations, but do your best.
Yeah.
Is there like a point where like how we talked about nepotism, and there's certain actors that get into the field because like that's all they know, they grow around.
Mm-hmm.
Like, is there a point where for them it's like, yo, like I'm not meant to be an actor? Like, where does that realization come?
I feel like when the pressure or the social media or something breaks you and you're like, I'm not aligned for this. And that can happen any point in your life, in any career too. When you're having a breakthrough where you're like, is this even meant for me?
Have you ever felt that?
I have felt that being in Canada a lot.
Yeah.
Like I go back and forth to India quite a bit, and I'm not ungrateful. Like I'm super, super grateful to be in this country. Like, look at where we live, right?
100%, yeah.
But I've felt out of alignment sometimes where I'm like, I want to go back because I don't feel right here. I have children here, I have 2 kids, and I have my family here. So it's not a viable decision to take them with me where people are moving here, for a better life, for better resources, better chance. But I felt that not anymore, because I feel you can put your best foot forward no matter where you are. So you can't be in the victim mindset.
Yeah.
But I felt that in the past where I'm like, I'm stuck because I'm in the wrong place. Like
And-
even like, when you talk
Yeah.
about like LA or New York,
Mm-hmm.
I feel like there's more opportunities for something like
It's
this.
like a different environment, different connections, different people.
Absolutely.
It's a lot about who you know too, right?
It
you
is.
think?
It is, but again, that only goes so far.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can know people and you can have the network, but if you don't have your work to justify it, it's not going to take you too far. Like at the end of the day, it is how you manage, how talented you are, and how good of a work ethic you have, and how much discipline you have.
Yeah. And I feel like, I mean, you've probably had that experience, but I feel like India is an industry where like you have to be on your guard at all times. I feel like it's a very cutthroat world.
It is cutthroat, competitive,
Yeah.
because everybody can be replaced. Like look at the population,
Yeah.
look at the talent.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about this industry, like in Bombay, like everybody, there's like all these Brazilian actors and models coming to the city to be
really?
someone. Yeah, there's gorgeous people, brilliant people, talented people, putting in the work away from their families who've just come to make it. So there's no shortage of talent. And that's why it's competitive. Like if you're not bringing your A game, like what is the point of being here?
Yeah.
But a lot of people come with a certain expectation, but they kind of maneuver around it because it's a city or it's an industry that has a lot of options. So a lot of people who come to be an actor would go in direction or script writing or lyricist or, there's endless options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's tough though, 'cause I've like heard so many stories of people going down there and just being like, yo, like they can't handle the pressure.
Like what? Like in LA or something, or in
Or like
India?
even India. India's like pretty savage in a sense, right?
Like
people are-
Bombay and
I
stuff.
feel
or
like-
People are
yeah.
like people there are much smarter. Like if like in a sense, like they got way more street smarts down there.
Yeah, because
Because everybody's trying to hustle you.
Yeah.
everyone's trying to hustle you, and also like if you're not grown up in that country, I feel like by default I know how India works because I've been born and raised there. Like I had to struggle to be assimilated here because I'm not born and raised here. So there was a bit of a cultural sort of gap. When I go back, I'm right off the bat, I'm like I belong because I speak the language, but it's not the language. It's like I know how it works. I know how people communicate without communicating. Yeah, but it is cutthroat. But it's everywhere too. Anywhere where you where there's enough talent and you could be replaced, it's that
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of gotta stay on top.
How was that process, like moving to Canada, like everything like that, so young? Like, were you just like, what was it?
Have you guys gone back to India ever? Have you guys visited
I
India?
went once,
once when I was like
grade
5 years
5.
old.
You guys need to go back, by
I
the
actually
way.
enjoyed it though.
Sorry?
Yeah, I had
From
fun.
what I remember, I had a good time
Okay, well, how come you haven't gone back?
because like now there's nothing left there.
Yeah.
Like, all our
Oh, like
families-
family.
Like,
Families all
everybody's
going,
kind of
yeah.
here.
I mean,
now.
you could go for like vacation and just kind of like travel and tourism.
But it kind of makes like that's the scary part, like
Yeah.
going there and like not knowing what to do, where to go. But and I get what you're saying here.
No, yeah, I've heard it's a good place to travel. A lot of people recommend it.
Yeah, like our roots. I mean, and apart from that, like there's so much. So India is such a different world than here. My biggest thing was like the difference and the whole polarizing difference in the two cultures, two countries. So I had to like make peace with that. This is going to be my life. Like when I moved here, I remember I moved in Richmond, and this is 20 years ago, right? And like there was no restaurants would be open after 8 o'clock or 7:30 back then. Even now, I think certain restaurants. And in Delhi, we would go eat at like 1 a.m. or 2 a.m., especially as kids. Like we would just go for a drive.
Yeah.
Everything is open all night. It's like New York. You have street food. You have things to do. There's like stuff fairs going around. Like there's never a dull moment in that city where I grew up. And I moved here and I was like, there's nothing to do, but you have to ask people, especially if you don't have family or friends, what do you do on a weekend?
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm like, okay, people do their banking work, buy groceries.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
You're kind of just stuck in like the rat race.
I mean,
here.
there is nothing really to do out here.
There
Yeah.
isn't.
Now it's different. Now I've sort of built my own community because I think that's why I pushed myself into public speaking and emceeing and going out there. So I meet people and I'm a part of like this whole South Asian community. But back then I'm like, okay, what do you do? And like you're just constantly missing family because you could be doing 10 things in one day. And here you're like, your one job is to go to work,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And it's even that, if that's not exciting, then it's pretty dull, unfortunately.
I know what you mean.
So you have to really find work that excites you here.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's just like, what do you like? You just have fun on vacations? Like, what?
You're kind of just numbed out. Yeah.
Yeah.
I get
Right?
what you're saying. Yeah.
And for me, like this, like Christmas and Diwali time, like I would be very depressed because I would want to go back. And back then, nobody was traveling as much, right? Technology wasn't as advanced. There was no FaceTime. There was no WhatsApp. So it was very different times. And especially when I got pregnant, I really felt like stuck because I was here on visitor visa. I had applied for my PR and I couldn't travel. B, I was pregnant. I couldn't travel. And it was just like, oh my God, when am I going to be on the other side?
Yeah.
Now I feel I'm so blessed because I get to go a couple of times a year.
Oh, back. Wow.
I go back whenever I want because I'm like, I've paid my dues.
Yeah.
Let's
yeah.
go.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, is your family? You still have family back home?
I have family. My entire family is there.
Okay.
So there's no one here still.
Yeah.
Everybody's still
that's
in Delhi.
tough too in itself, right? 'Cause you
Yeah.
left everyone.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like I always look for opportunities, and that's why my business is also linked to India. So it gives me an opportunity when I'm not feeling like I have to take time off from my work. It is work. So it's kind of tied into my work.
Gonna have that bridge to go back.
What was a choice to make you come to Canada?
So my wedding was arranged.
Okay.
Well, I'd met my husband and I liked him. It wasn't like this is the guy you're gonna get
Yeah,
married to.
yeah.
Thankfully not.
She had to say the part. I liked it.
I liked him, so it wasn't like I would like. This is a disclaimer, but that was the decision. Like my husband was born in India, raised here. He moved here when he was 6, and his family lives here. His parents are here, his siblings are here, everyone's here.
Okay.
So
It's
that
easier for him.
sorry,
It's easier for him to kind of.
100%, yeah. But he comes back with me sometimes too, because I take him to all the fun places, and you know,
Yeah.
it's kind of like incorporating him with my childhood stuff, and
I don't know,
India is a fun place.
is 100%. But like you're saying, like here, like when you put it into perspective, it is kind of like dulled out.
Oh yeah.
Like like you said, you're just looking forward to vacations
Oh yeah.
I mean-
100%, man.
and like days
What's the
off.
most exciting thing to do?
Yeah.
Like you're
And
just
think about
waiting
it.
for it to clock out.
When Olympics came,
Yeah.
2010, yeah, I was over the moon. I was like, what? Like Vancouver could be so much fun.
Yeah.
Remember, there were like
Yeah,
things happening
yeah.
on the streets. There
Yeah.
were like dances, and just because of the games, the whole city was out.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. I felt like there was a piece of me that felt like my Delhi's here,
Kind of belong there.
right? And even when TOEFA, like this the film awards came in 2013. That was another time where the whole Bollywood was here, and there was
Yeah.
things happening in the city. And but other than that, I felt like I've always wanted to I've been waiting for summer, because summer is when you're a little bit out because the days are longer.
Yeah.
But again, like there's no, I mean,
Peony, right?
I mean,
That's the most exciting.
the
thing.
winter months are a write off.
Yeah,
you're
winter
just
months are
working
right off,
and like
yeah.
you're just kind of like.
Yeah.
you're working, and I mean, a lot of people
Go
do.
see some Christmas lights. Like, what
Yeah.
the fuck is that?
Oh, yeah. I've seen them once, and I'm like, I'm not going back. I've done it. Been there, done that.
Yeah.
It's just
It's the same thing every year.
It's the same thing every year.
Well, Christmas is like a corporate like holiday. I feel like
Yeah.
it's like a business
Commercialized
created,
now.
commercialized
Super,
just for
yeah.
like
I mean, yeah, like people are.
it's that corporate greed.
It's a very corporate, yeah. And because I didn't grow up celebrating Christmas, so it's not a part of my
Mhm.
DNA. It's like, okay, I do this for my kids,
yeah.
but it's not something that I am looking forward to. But I go back for Diwali in India, and there's like,
It's probably lit.
for weeks, it's
Yeah.
like
Mhm.
house parties after house parties after house parties.
Yeah.
And it's not the party factor too. It's the vibe is different. Like there's so many things to do.
Yeah.
It keeps you on the roll. It's exciting.
Everyone's together.
Everyone's together, and my family is there. So I go back for Diwali every year now.
I had another question for you.
Mhm.
Is so compared to a female actress and a male actress, is there a difference in their pay scale?
Oh, absolutely.
Actress and actress.
An actor like a male,
Like a male and a
male
female.
and
Yeah,
female.
100%. Yes, absolutely. Because, well, I haven't been a part of a project where I am the protagonist.
Mm-hmm.
It would be interesting to find out what a protagonist gets paid if it's a female versus what a protagonist gets paid if it's a male. I do know there's a big difference in the pay structure, especially I would say in Bollywood, because look at all the big money makers. They're all males. I mean, I'm not happy saying it. I want the Deepikas and the Kanganas to make all the money, but it is the male actors, unfortunately. So there is a huge difference. I also feel like the heroic image of like these male actors make it also a little bit more advantageous to their pay structure.
Do you think
because
that comes from the audience?
it comes from the audience? Like, you know why Animal did the business that it did? It's one of the biggest movies of its times. Like,
Oh, really?
it's
Yeah.
done huge business. And you know why? Because Bollywood or cinema in India is still catering to a lot of masses. So these are the people who don't have the necessary awareness or education where they can be like, okay, this is wrong. I don't want to, support this. It's more for the entertainment, like the blood and the violence and the women and the, masses still make the choice or still make the movie a hit or a flop. Like a lot of times, good movies don't do well because it doesn't hit a chord with
They
the
don't
masses.
understand
The
depth of it.
the depth of it. Versus a movie like Animal does such a good business. So, and
it's just,
again-
like, kind of stupid movie.
and again, it's like a
I
stupid.
didn't watch it.
Well, you're not missing out.
There's not much to it, man. It's
Yeah.
just some fucking.
I just heard there's a lot of like weird scenes.
Yeah.
Like,
There's a lot of weird. Well, there's a
I
couple
didn't
of
know
good
it did
moments.
that well.
It did so well. It's one of the biggest grossing movies in its time. Like huge business. Like within the first weekend it opened, it was like, I don't know, 100 crores or something.
Dan, if you were to watch this movie, you'd be like, "What the fuck is this?"
He won't watch it. He's like, I've heard
Yo,
enough
what's
about this
going on
movie.
here?
I'm not putting. And it's a long film. Like it's 3.5 hours.
fuck. I watched Napoleon.
Yeah, that was very like I
Yeah.
was like,
Bro,
falling asleep.
I watched Napoleon and it was like 3 hours and I literally wanted to die.
I watched The Irishman. That was a good movie.
That's a good movie.
That's worth
I
the 3
watched that,
hours.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the average time of these movies, Dan. So,
Well, some of the Hindi movies go by really quick. Like they're
Yeah.
good, and they
Yeah.
go by really quick.
What would you say in your mind was one of the best Hindi movies you've ever watched?
It's an Ranbir Kapoor movie again, Rockstar. So it's one of my favorite films because it's so. You have to understand. There's so much emotion in the way they portrayed the journey of this character through how he wants to, like the heartbreak and the music and the family and how it's all entangled into one character's journey. It's beautiful and the music is amazing.
Yeah.
I also love Three Idiots.
that's a
'cause
good movie.
It's like a no-brainer, really good watch, feel-good
Like a meaning
movie.
to it.
Yeah.
A lot of meaning to it. Actually reflects the truth, like true education system of India. Like that's how it is. Whether it's like relationships and friendships and the whole emotional bond of how people actually grow up together and they end up being this one community. It's a really good film. It's funny. I still laugh when I watch it, and I watched it over 10 times. So that's a really good watch if you're looking to watch a Hindi movie. Three Idiots. Yeah,
And I
absolutely.
think him, that guy, what's his name, Amir Khan as an actor,
Yeah.
he seems like he's very proper,
Mhm.
even in the movies he does.
He's very proper, and especially this movie, he really played a very good. The character is really amazing, but he gets what he's trying to do. Like he's portrayed it really well, and he's played a student at what, at a 40 years old,
Yeah.
and he's playing a university student. Props to him.
Yeah.
There's hope for me, guys.
Like back to that question about the money. So like when females and males kind of compare, can you really compare that in terms of like money wise? Can you compare the two? Because at the end of the day, it's not the male or the female. It's more so about the audience, right?
It is about the audience, but it's also about like going back to, I would say, like, if you ask me, I would love to like put my foot down and be like, I want to be paid more because the male lead is getting paid. But then again, think about it. You would get replaced because there's so many other people who are gonna be willing to do this for lesser, because that's just the nature of the industry. So it's not something about that you're making a point or I mean, it's just how things are, unless you're on a platform where you can ask for what you want. And, I'm starting out, so I have to still figure out what's going to be okay as a norm, what I'm okay with, where do I want to, like, battle, pick my battles. So
does an actor get paid a price before the movie, or is it something that like
before
they
the
take,
movie.
they don't take cut from?
Well, nowadays, actors are also smart, so they are the co-producers. Like, Shah Rukh Khan also has his own production company,
Yeah.
Red Chilies or something, yeah. And so he gets, when his movies do well, for example, Jawan or Pathan, like these movies did really well, he gets a cut of when the movies make money. Anushka Sharma is another like she produces her own films. But if you're just an actor, you get paid before the movie, you sign up for that much, and then that's it. But you have so many other perks, like for Bollywood, like
Yeah.
I don't imagine they're paying for anything like when they do things, right? Like
Yeah.
it's,
Free flights, everything.
yeah, absolutely.
Oh yeah, but
I mean,
they
people want to
don't-
oblige them, and
They don't get like any percentage of like ticket sales or anything like that.
I don't think so. I think
Okay.
they quote the price that they want,
Mhm.
and I think that's what they get paid, unless you're a part of the production. Like Shah Rukh Khan's wife is the producer, so it's either way, it's coming to him. And then there's a couple of other actors or actresses who are producers now. I can't think at the top of my head,
Yeah.
but that's another way of getting the cut.
Who are some Punjabi actors that you would love to work with?
I have I'd love to work with Diljit. I think he's a really cool person. Gippy is another person I would love to work with. There's a couple of other, I don't know their names, other character actors that I love watching, and I think it'd be fun to work with
Yeah.
them.
You did work with the one guy. What's his name? Sarabji?
Yeah,
Chima?
Sarbji Chima, yeah.
Yeah, he's in the movie.
You know who
Oh,
Sarbji Chima is?
Sarji Chima.
Yeah,
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 he's a
yeah.
singer.
He's a singer. Yeah.
Singer and
Yeah.
actor. Yeah. He played my husband in the movie, and he was incredible to work with. And then Yograj Singh, sir, he's
oh,
older.
I know him. Yeah.
Yeah,
he's-
yeah.
His son's a cricket player,
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. So he was my father-in-law in the movie, and he's the main protagonist of the movie. And I had to say all the mean things to him. So.
Oh, that's scary.
It
Like,
was-
you're like the
Scary
bad
guy.
daughter-in-law.
Yeah. I was a mean daughter-in-law, so it was exciting working with him. So I would love to work with him again. Like,
Yeah.
absolutely love working with him. It was just so much learning just watching him.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's exciting. So yeah. So what are some? Oh, another question. How important is acting school?
I would say very important because, like you said in the beginning, I didn't know what is acting. Like I thought there's things that you do and you get better at, and you get better at your dialogues, but there's stuff that you learn about the process, and also working with other actors. I mean, you can work on yourself and say that I can read this monologue in like 5 minutes without looking at it. My memorization is really good, and I've got a good voice, and I can work on camera, and I can work my angles. But working with another person is so significantly huge when it comes to your performance, because there were a lot of times, like from my movie, where my father-in-law is saying things to me, and I just had to listen, and if I'm just standing there, like what I'm actually doing. So just being there and holding space for your other actor, you learn in acting school. And what are you doing with your character? I didn't know if I'm an antagonist. Okay, great, she's a mean person. But then going into why is she mean? What has been done to her that she's become this way? And that reflects in your tone. If she's frustrated, or if she's mad, or if she's angry, like what are her feelings? Where is she sitting at? You learn those things when you go to acting school, because you sit down and pretty much dissect the character. And I've done that with all my characters when I do my scenes with other actors. And I'm like, it's not about me. Like, I could be doing all the lines. I could have all the lines, like there was a scene where I'm playing the mom, and my son is right there, and I have all the lines. But the work of the son was more important, because he's absorbing a lot of that. So just knowing that sometimes it's not your moment to shine. Sometimes you have to give that moment, and that makes you shine. So it's a lot of like personability, like, how to work with other humans, how to work with your emotions, and learning about yourself too, because sometimes things would trigger you about a scene, and then you wonder, I'm like, okay, what about? So it's also kind of like a self-development, because I'm asking myself, I'm like, what about that made me feel that way? So I'll sit with it, I'll journal about it, I would, work on it, and hopefully not get triggered, because that's what we're doing in life, is to free flow and not be, too much attached to negativity.
That's pretty cool though, because it feels like it's a process where you're kind of learning a lot about yourself.
You guys are welcome to come and audit my acting class, by the way.
That'd be cool.
Yeah,
Should we do that?
I'm down. Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, you can audit a class. It's like a 4-hour class, and you can come and sit and watch how other actors do it. I've taken my son, and it's fun to watch. It's kind of gives you a different perspective.
That'd be cool. Yeah, Dan, we'll bring the camera too.
Yeah,
We'll get
you
the
guys are all
camera crew out
welcome.
there, yeah.
Dan, you're welcome to come too.
Dan, the auditor.
So what's next for you? What's
I'm really hoping, again, this is an industry that you have to really let go of control. I'm really hoping that I get to do good work. And like I said, I'm not too hung up on, like, I want to do movies. It could be like short films. It could be streaming channels. I want to do good work. I want to be on a set. I want to be working on my craft, having something that to show my kids that this is what mommy has done on set.
yeah?
And that's what my goal is. And again, just grow as an actor, hopefully have some good films on my roster where I can say that these are the people I worked with, these are the people I've learned from. I'm going to continue training as an actor. I'm going to continue training in my voiceover and voice modulation, the work that I'm doing, and the work that I'm doing as a human, like being grounded, making sure that I'm coming from a humble and truthful place and holding space for my other actors, holding space for other humans around me, having that compassion in me so it reflects in my work. It's not just someone wanting to be on a screen. Like that's the last of my concerns. Yeah. My concern is to be able to be in that process. And that's why I'm in so much in love with the process of it that I'm not having too many expectations of where the destination is going to be. Like just be in love with the journey.
Just in love with the journey. That's beautiful. So,
yeah, there is a lot of opportunities out there and like stuff like new short films and stuff like that. Like Just Rain's making a show, right?
yeah, Just Rain's coming out with the show
wow.
too.
Yeah.
Do you
I
guys
think
watch
it's-
his stuff?
I used to, yeah.
I used to watch his stuff. Yeah,
That's
It's
funny.
cool, but I feel like there's so many different realms you can go into in today's day.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
I've also done a lot of voiceover work. My voiceover casting director always tells me that I have a very raspy, husky voice. And that works in certain, like I've done voiceover for this new film that's, you know who Dev Patel is?
Sounds familiar.
Yeah.
He was the guy from Slumdog Millionaire.
Yeah.
So I had a voiceover gig where I voiceovered for him, and he was directing us on FaceTime, and we were doing the voiceover work.
Oh,
So it's
that's
pretty
cool.
exciting. Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's other aspects of it too, like voiceover,
Yeah.
acting. Yeah.
That's cool. What's an advice you'd give to anyone wanting a career as
In
an
acting?
actor or trying to pursue starting off young or at any age or whatever?
My advice to young actors or someone wanting to pursue this industry is just work truthfully. Like know what your core values are, know what your core principles are, and go with it. Don't alter yourself, but also give it your best. Anybody who is wanting to be an actor has to know that this is not the easiest. I'm not going to say that, be ready for the challenges. That's just life. That's just how we operate in this world. But know why you are in it, and learn with it, grow with it, and have fun. Like, if you don't have to take life so seriously or your career so seriously. I mean, yes, I know discipline is important, but have fun with it. Like, enjoy your work, enjoy the process, meet with people, learn about yourself, and hopefully, you'll make it. Because, like, I'm not someone who's a successful actor who's done so many films, but what I'm hoping is that if I'm working truthfully and honestly, it will take me and align me with my purpose, no matter what it is. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's just my 2 cents.
No, actually, I did want to ask one thing about your clothing line and your designing things, right? Do you have any thoughts on the ban on lengas and stuff like that? I don't know if you've seen that.
The ban? No, I haven't.
Oh, never mind. I don't have any questions.
So he's talking about how like in Punjabi in our culture, like you
Yeah.
can't wear lengas anymore.
Oh, yeah, I heard
During
about that. Okay,
weddings.
sorry. You said ban. I'm like, what?
Is do you think like Punjabis are wedding dresses are heavily influenced by the Bollywood culture?
Absolutely.
Are they?
Absolutely. I think our lives, especially if a lot is influenced by, like the music and what we vibe on, what we play in our parties, how we dress, even other than weddings.
Yeah.
We're taking fashion as an influence from cinema. But I don't know if the lehenga should be banned. Like, it's a very personal thing. I wore a suit to my wedding because I'm like, it's just easier to walk and, be mobile. But I think it's a personal preference. Like, I don't think lehengas are inappropriate. I think that's perfectly appropriate to wear in a gurdwara and, do the rituals. But again, it's just something that it's hard to comment on because it's kind of, controversial and sensitive.
This guy at the end had to bring it up.
Anyways. Dan, you got
Dan's
any
like-
questions for
Dan's probably entertained.
Bollywood? You curious about anything? Oh, Lengha.
I think
It's an outfit that Indian women usually wear at their wedding time. It's like a skirt that's heavily embellished with a top and a drape.
So the problem is that they're saying that it's a little bit inappropriate for the temple, depending on like the cuts of it and like.
I mean, we've done it for like how many years, right?
Mhm. But that's the issue that we're at right now, Dan, in 2024. Yeah.
Yeah, you can't comment on what is appropriate and what is
Yeah.
not because it's just someone's
Mhm.
their perspective.
Dan, have you ever watched a Bollywood movie?
Three Idiots, watch it.
You actually like that movie. That's a
watch
good movie.
watch Three Idiots, and then you gotta tell us what you thought of it.
I will say yes, but there's a high likelihood I won't.
Yeah, there's no chance he's fucking watching it.
You probably like it. It's a good movie. I haven't seen anyone who
I
has
don't
it.
watch anything right now, though. I don't have any time.
Dan's a hunter.
Dan's grinding.
No,
Anything
yeah.
you're curious about?
What style of acting did you study? Did you Meisner or anything like that?
Style of acting.
acting.
Oh, the style of acting. So we do scene work with our co-actors. So basically every week we're given a scene. It could be 5 pages, it could be 10 pages. We have to memorize. That's kind of like our assignment. So we memorize our scene and then we have to come prepared for the next week and do the scene in class. And it's our own take on the scene. But once we've done it, then our coach kind of critiques it. And she pretty much calls us out if we're not in it, if you're just saying the lines and we're surfacing it. So, and then we do camera work. So it's a lot of scene work, a lot of camera work, and then teamwork. Like we're paired with actors. Sometimes we have scenes with 3 or 4 actors, and we have to do it. And it's exciting. It's fun.
You really have to become like when you're acting and you're playing out a scene. There's so many people watching you.
Yeah,
Does that ever get uncomfortable?
it does.
'Cause
I'm
you're
not
kinda
gonna
put on the
lie.
spot.
Yeah, it does. I'm not gonna lie. But again, I got used to it in acting school because there are audience, the other actors. When you do, it's like a spotlight like this, and you come and do the scene underneath it, and you do the scene. Sometimes you're walking in the scene. Sometimes you have to be like physically okay because you're shaking hands, or sometimes there's like a fist. I've had a scene in the class where I'm actually killing someone, and I pull out a gun and I shoot the person, and the person has to fall. Like.
Yeah.
And so there's a lot of physicality in it, like how you hold a gun, how your body changes. So think about it. Like if you're holding a gun, you're not going to be like casually like this. Like you're holding, an arm, like it's a weapon that can kill somebody. So it is going to shake you up a little bit, and you are going to your face is going to change. So those things happen when you're in the moment and you notice it. You're like, oh, it's a prop, but you felt like you were doing it. And I've had scenes where somebody had to, I had to act as if I've gone crazy, and 2 guards are going to take me out of the room. So I had to literally fight them and resist them. So your physicality part of it is really challenging too. What are the barriers? What are you not going to do? What are you going to do? Are you going to surrender and just be? Because you can't think about how you're going to resist 2 men who are going to tie you down and take you out of the room, right? So those things you'll learn about yourself too. Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It's pretty fun. Yeah.
That sounds like an exciting career.
It is.
Yeah.
And again, I know it's not easy, but you gotta take the chances.
Yeah.
100%. Do you want to plug in your Instagram and the movie and everything like that?
Absolutely. So my movie is called Sardara and Sons. It is on the app called Chopal. There's a lot of Punjabi films on this app. And my Instagram handle is just my first and last name, Kanika Sassan. And my business Instagram is Adore by Kanika.
And she doesn't know if it's on the IPTV or not.
Probably is. 100%.
I asked her. Should be on there.
The IPTV is like the box thing?
Yeah.
100% it's
Yeah.
I don't know. They call it the Dibby, and I'm like,
The
What's a
IPTV, 100%. Go support the app though.
go support the app.
Support the app,
And go support the movie.
Yeah, we'd love. Thank you for coming on.
Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
you taking time out of your day and
Absolutely.
coming on the podcast. We love what you're doing.
Thank you.
Always support you.
And
We're
yeah,
the Bains.
keep going with it.
Yeah, and we're the Bains and Beers.
We're out.
Bains and Beers.
Ooh.